Dear Tessa, I want to see the new Star Wars movie with my friends, but I know nothing about it. I'm a total noob. Help! Can you give me a guide? Love, Mary. Okay. Mary, I will definitely help you. I don't know how you got my address. That's a little bit creepy, but I will do my best to give you the advice that you need before Star Wars The Force Awakens comes to theaters. So Mary, you know nothing about Star Wars. You know what? That's okay, you're not the only one. But I'm gonna give you a little guide to help you get through this movie. So the first thing we're gonna start with is some pretty basic information about Star Wars to kind of help you get ready. First thing you need to know is that there are 6 movies. There are 6 and some movies. I don't really count the Clone Wars as a movie, but okay, fine. So we're gonna start with the original ones first. You got Star Wars, you got The Empire Strikes Back, and then you've got Return of the Jedi. Then later, in like 1999, 2000, they came up with some prequels. Those were dubbed Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. After those movies came out, they rebranded the original ones. It's so confusing. So you've got Episode 4, which was Star Wars, the original one, but it was renamed A New Hope. Episode 5 was Empire Strikes Back. Episode 6 was Return of the Jedi. My biggest advice to you is if you want to get the general idea of Star Wars, I would pretty much just stick to the original ones. I mean, there's nothing wrong per se with the prequels. It depends on who you ask. But I would say just do the originals. So this is what you have to know. Episode 4, A New Hope, really starts with Luke Skywalker as a young kid who's taking care of these droids. These droids who are R2-D2 and C-3PO. As he's taking care of them, he sees that there's a message from Princess Leia to someone named Obi-Wan Kenobi. Of course, the important line there is her saying, "Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope." So Luke Skywalker and the droids go and they find Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the plan is to go and rescue Princess Leia. Now, the reason that she needs rescuing is because Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine are basically constructing this huge Death Star. Princess Leia has found the plans for the Death Star. She's captured, and her message to Obi-Wan Kenobi is to come and rescue her. So they realize that they're gonna need some talent, somebody who's good with a gun, blaza blaza blaza. They go and find Han Solo in a bar, and he's a smuggler. The only reason he's gonna go with them is because he needs to pay off a debt. So Han Solo, along with his co-pilot Chewbacca, who's a Wookiee, go and try and rescue Princess Leia. So on the Death Star, there's a big battle. Darth Vader ends up killing Obi-Wan Kenobi, spoiler alert, and then Luke Skywalker and the Rebel Alliance end up blowing up the Death Star. End of movie 1. By the second movie, Luke has grown up a little bit. He ends up going and finding Yoda, who's a very important, masterful Jedi, and Yoda teaches him the way of the Force. Luke is trained to become this very important Jedi, blah, 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 intergalactic mayhem. There are some other characters that end up showing up. I think it's around the time that we find out that Luke and Leia are sister and brother. And of course, a big scene is Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker fight, and it is revealed that Darth Vader is actually Luke Skywalker's father. Luke, I am your father. No, it's not true. It was true. Finally, in Return of the Jedi, there's all kinds of there's more intergalactic mayhem, and we find out that Darth Vader's not so bad. He's just misguided, and he ends up rescuing his son from Emperor Palpatine, and we end up revealing Darth Vader's face, and there is a very sweet father-son bonding moment, and he dies. That's what you need to know about Star Wars. If you want to go into the prequels, I would say the most important thing for you to know is that Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader. He was a little boy. He was trained and raised up by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan Kenobi was trained by Qui-Gon Jinn. Anakin Skywalker ends up marrying Padme. Senator Palpatine ends up becoming Emperor Palpatine. Anakin Skywalker is drawn into the dark side, and he falls in some sort of volcanic lava that burns his whole body and it ends up turning into some sort of robot body, and he's reconstructed into Darth Vader. I would say that's the important stuff, give or take. There are a ton of characters in the Star Wars universe, so if you really want to get into depth about these characters, I would read Wikipedia. I mean, it's gonna be the easiest way to get like quick information so that you know what you're getting into when you get to the movie. I mean, really, that's the gist of it. If you know those things, if you know the basics of those movies, you should be okay. There's a couple of planets that you probably need to know. You need to know that Alderaan was Princess Leia's home, Tatooine was Luke Skywalker's home, the Death Star was the big spaceship that Darth Vader had built. You need to know the Force is the thing that's this internal power that the Jedis possess. You need to know that the dark side is the bad people. They don't really have a name for the good people, but some people call it the light side. Some people could just call it like the way of the Jedi. It just sort of depends on who you're talking to. Rebel Alliance is good, Galactic Empire is bad, and so on and so forth. Okay, now the important part. You want to go see The Force Awakens. What do you need to know to enjoy this movie? I'm going to give you a guide. I'm going to try to give you 4 or 5 quick tips so that you can enjoy this movie. Tip number 1, don't be pressured into choosing the light side. Maybe consider the dark side. Now, I'm not saying that being evil is a good thing. I don't condone being evil. However, sometimes these characters are highly misunderstood. They're very complex characters. So if you go on the example of Darth Vader, I mean, he was sort of mishandled and brainwashed into being Darth Vader. And at the end, he ended up being a good guy. When he died, he ended up coming to his senses. So always give people benefit of the doubt in these movies. Number 2, go into this cinematic experience expecting to be slightly confused. The Star Wars canon has been around for almost 40 years. There's a lot of history, a lot of characters, a lot of storyline. It's okay to be slightly confused. If you want to take the time to read the hundreds of books and watch all 6 or 7 or 8 movies and play all the video games and read all the comics, then go for it. Good for you. You are on your way to being a super fan. But if you want to be like the rest of the Joe Schmoes out there, I would stick to the original 3, say, okay, these are the basic things that I need to know, and let that be that. Number 3, do not confuse Star Trek and Star Wars. Don't do it. Star Trek and Star Wars have some of the most loyal, intense fans out there, and you do not want to confuse the two. Me personally, I am more of a Star Trek fan. I'm sorry, but I would not consider myself a Trekker, and I really wouldn't even consider myself a Trekkie, but I do know the difference between the two worlds. So if you go up to somebody and say, "May the Force be with you," you are gonna get punched in the face. And it might be by me, because I told you not to do that. To me, it would be like confusing the DC world with the Marvel world. Spock, Kirk, Uhura, Star Trek. Han Solo, Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker, Star Wars. Separate them. And number 4, I'm gonna say this is the most important thing that you absolutely have to take away from this. Don't worry about the lore. But Tessa, what about all that information that you gave me about the planets and the battles and the characters? Yeah, for the movie, for you to understand the movie, those are important things to know. But to me, your question is more about how can you enjoy this movie? You said you were gonna go see it with your friends. If your friends are enjoying the movie, you should enjoy the movie. Nowadays, we're bogged down by so much bad stuff that's going on in the world, and it's hard sometimes to just stop and sit and watch a really good movie with really good friends. Take advantage of the fact that you have great friends that invited you to a place, and you're gonna go sit with them and you're gonna enjoy this experience, and y'all may go out to eat afterwards. You're gonna talk about it, and that's important. That's the most important thing. Enjoy your time with your friends. Laugh when they laugh, shrug when they shrug. I'm not saying that you're required to like the movie. I'm not saying that at all. But this is a cinematic experience, and I think being with good friends, eating good food, enjoying your time is part of that experience. This is going to be an amazing movie. I'm excited to see it. Obviously, this video is not sponsored by the movie, but go out and see it. Enjoy the cinematic experience. Enjoy it. Ooh, you know what? I am going to add a fifth one. I'm not going to say it's the most important one, but I'm going to say it's an important one. Don't you dare spoil this movie. I would say that's for every new movie that comes out, but this particular movie has been in the works for years. People have been waiting years for it. Who is calling me? Sorry about that. Where was I? This movie has been in the works for years, and people have been waiting years for it to come out. And the last thing that they need is for you to be like, oh my gosh, by the way, at the end, this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. No, don't do that. That would be so wrong on your part. Keep it to yourself. If it wasn't in the trailer, you cannot say it. So Mary, I hope that that helped you, and I hope that you enjoyed the movie. You're gonna have a great time. Don't worry about being a noob. Hi everybody, thank you so much for watching this first Tessa's Guide to. If you like this video and you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to also follow me on social media. I'm on Twitter at Tessa's Guide to. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Tumblr. And if you have any questions or anything that you need advice on, please let me know and I will do my best to answer your question. Okay guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope to see you soon. Bye!